Alright everybody, welcome back, and Gaijin just moved yet another supersonic down to 9.0. This is the Su-7. There are 3 of them in the Soviet tree, and all 3 of them were actually just moved down to 9.0. I'll go over the differences here in a little bit, but just know that you'll be seeing clips from 2 of them. And I want to be completely upfront, this thing should not have gone down to 9.0, just straight up. This is part of a very clear pattern from Gaijin where over the years they have moved these flareless supersonics down in BR because they're getting bullied by missiles, and then they in turn go ahead and bully subsonics. I have a feeling this thing is probably not going to stay this BR for very long. It was 9.0 before for a little bit for the exact same reason, and it got moved back up again. Basically what this thing does, as long as you're using it in the fighter role, which at 9.0 I would highly recommend, is it plays energy. I mean, this is not your, really agile dogfighter. It's not your area yet. You're not going to be sitting there winning dogfights against a lot of the stuff that you fight. Though it's not a brick. It can pull for a bit, and you can sit behind some people. Just in a lot of your games, you are fighting subsonic stuff like sabers, for example, and they will easily beat you in a dogfight. Against supersonics, it's fairly competitive, though, I mean, stuff like the F-100A is still going to beat you in a 1v1. What I really like to compare this to is the MiG-19. And yes, it's not as good as the MiG-19, but it gives me that same sort of vibe. It has a lot of energy behind it. It's not the most ergonomic, shall we say, because it does like to compress. It can be a little difficult to aim sometimes, but it has power behind it and it can hold its energy well. Of course, it's no MiG-19. You're not going to be sitting there looping people for days like you can in that, but it gives me that same sort of vibe. Just know that it does compress quite a bit at high speed, just like the MiG-19 does, so you are going to have to play around that a little bit. But most of the jets that you're seeing, you can play energy with, and a lot of them you will be able to simply outrun. This is a 9.7 lobby that I'm in right now. I purposefully chose this one just to show most of the jets that I am seeing I can outrun. That A4B, that Hunter, the Harrier from earlier. The only jets that are in this lobby that I can't outrun are the F-106 and the F-104, and both of those I can very easily counter in different ways. But in the case of these subsonics that I'm fighting right now, if I'm in a bad situation, all I have to do is lower my nose, and boom. I can just extend away a little bit, get some distance, and I'm good to go. Against stuff like the F-104, I mean, well, their only defense really is running, so if you manage to catch them like I did right there, they're pretty much dead. The F-106, you'll just want to take them into a spiral similar to this and energy trap them. And if you keep an eye in the background, my dogfight performance is good enough that I can at least keep up with the Hunters. Of course, the Hunter isn't a particularly good dogfighter, but it's still a subsonic. And I have a lot more speed and power behind it as well. So some of y'all are probably wondering why I'm flying the Su-7B here, and this is actually the one that I prefer flying the most, because there are some small differences between the 3 in terms of flight performance. All of them have the same engine, all have very similar flight performance like I said before, but the Su-7B, being the earliest, is also the lightest. Going up to the premium Su-7, the BMK, that adds about an extra 400 kilograms of weight, and the Tech Tree BKL actually adds about 500 kilograms. Now they do get some advantages in exchange for that, but personally I think that extra flight performance is more worth it, especially considering the lobbies that you get. Keep in mind, this footage in the background is one of the worst matchmakers that I can have. This is a 9.7 game. It is almost a full up tier. And yet most of the stuff I see is really no threat at all. Even the few things that do have good missiles at, say, 9.7, stuff like the T2 or the AV-8, only have a couple of them. And if you do happen to get some missiles launched at you early on, you can always throw an S-24 to take care of them. And then we get to the real travesty here. This thing can see 8.0s, and in fact, I was seeing it all the time. I would say from my experience at least 30 to 40% of my games were actually full down tiers to 8.0. Stuff like the Vampire and the R2Y2 can and do see this. The Seahawk. And in a 9.0 game, there are precious few things that can actually keep up with you, and even fewer that even have a chance of, energy fighting you. So you basically just get free reign to zoom in and out of whatever dogfight you want, and essentially nothing can touch you. The worst missiles you can see in these lobbies are AIM-9Bs as well, and I mean, we all know just how easy the AIM-9B is to dodge. Speaking of missiles, that is one thing that the Su-7 might be lacking in, but you can always do what I've been doing here and, use those rockets to your advantage. These are the S-24. And I highly, highly recommend bringing these on your jet. Like I said before, on the off chance that you do manage to somehow get up here, they do work as impromptu flares, but more importantly, in my opinion, they can do just, you know, stuff like this, which is pretty awesome. Just to be completely clear, they do not have a proximity fuse. You actually have to time this. So what you do is you set it for a 1,000 meter distance fuse, and then based on how fast you're going versus how fast the enemy is going, you have to shoot at the right time. And as you can see, I get it wrong sometimes. Most of the time, from my experience though, usually if you shoot at about 1.5 kilometers in the head-on, that's right around the time you need to get to the target. You can also shoot 2 of them, which you've probably seen me doing some in the background. You can space them out a little bit, and that gives you a much better chance of actually timing it correctly. If they're flying away from you, then about 600 meters or so is usually fine. And if you get good at this, this will very, very much take people by surprise. This tactic used to be very common back in the day, you know, of Sabre versus MiG back in like 2016 or so. You know, the MiG-15 BIS could actually take the S-21. But this has really fallen out of favor, and so I get a ton of people that are just straight up full committing to head-ons like you've been seeing. If you get good with this timing, I could see you getting 2 kills with these 6 rockets, you know, whenever you can actually get them all off. And that, of course, is in addition to your guns, which you do get 2 NR30s. And these are good guns for the BR. They're not the best. Cannons in general are still bugged. They aren't doing the greatest damage. But what you want to do is you want to bring the APHE rounds. Those at least aren't affected by the damage bug, so as long as they, you know, actually fuse, they will do proper damage. The issue is when they don't fuse or when that high explosive shell connects, because even with the best possible belts with the most APHE, you still only have 1 APHE for every 3 shells. If and when Gaijin fixes HE damage, this can totally change, but for now at least. The NR30s are still better off than a lot of cannons though, because at least they have that APHE round and they don't rely either on pure AP or HE damage like a lot of other ones do. One more thing, because I have a feeling I'm going to start getting comments about this. Even though this is a strike aircraft, I personally wouldn't recommend bombing in the Su-7. It's still a flareless aircraft if you are getting up tiered, and if you're putting yourself in a bad position just to get bombs off, you are likely to die way earlier than if you have yourself in a good position where you're not giving up your butt to the enemy. And the Su-7 is a very capable fighter at 9.0, especially whenever you're getting these 8.0 games like the one that I'm in right here. It's just really not worth it to give up that positioning, especially because the vast majority of RP rewards are actually time-based. Just bring your 4 or your 6 rockets. You can use them for self-defense and of course for getting more kills as well. At this point, I hope you've seen why the Su-7 going to 9.0 was such a, for lack of a better term, unwise decision to make. And just like with every other bad balancing decision Gaijin has made recently, it all stems from compression. The all aspects linking jets, when they were at 9.7, 10.0, absolutely slammed these lower tier supersonics without flares, and then they would go down a BR and compress the stuff beneath it, and the cycle continued, and now a lot of these vehicles are just stuck there. Again, I don't think this one is going to stick. Like I said before, they already tried moving to 9.0, went back up very quick, so I have a feeling it'll happen again, but this can't just keep happening. Either way, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Catch y'all next time. So, peace, y'all.